Craig Howson, thank you very much for coming.
No worries.
You are actually the official first guest of the High Caliber Man's podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm the first time doing it, so it could go to shit, but we'll see what happens. So let's start with you just giving an intro into yourself, who you are, where you come from, maybe what you're best known for anyone who hasn't seen anything of you before.
Craig Harrison, been in the army 23 years. I'm well known for holding the world record for the longest sniper kill in the world, and that's what I'm well renowned for. And obviously my mental health, what I do for mental health now, is getting bigger and bigger. Yeah. And your main intention for doing these podcasts is to spread the awareness around mental health, right? Oh, for sure, especially with men as well.
Cool.
Especially
with
men.
Cool. So hopefully we'll be able to do that today. I actually want to start with talking about your previous podcasts, because I've watched, I don't think all of them. I've done a lot of research with reading your book. Read that twice. First book I've ever read, and it was absolutely mind-blowing. It really humbled me and really made me grateful for my life, because I think it's easy to get stuck in a trap of realising how hard your own life is, but until you see how hard someone else's life is, it's it's a different world. So anyway, going back to your previous podcasts, I've watched most of them, and you don't even have to comment on this. This is more just for me to make a comment on. But if anyone who hasn't watched any of the podcasts of Craig's, I'd advise you to go and watch them first and then come back to this one, simply because I didn't like what I've seen. I didn't like what I've seen with your podcasters, and the way that I personally believe they preyed on your vulnerability, your experiences that you've had through fighting for our country, and your current state of mental health. To name one, really, Rob Moore asked you the first question, bearing in mind your intention of going on a podcast is to spread awareness around mental health. The first question he asked you was, what is it like to kill a man? And I personally don't understand how that helps you, how it helps the audience or anyone watching at all. I think it was very clickbaity. And on following on from that, I know he also asked you about Betsy, your dog, which is sadly passed. And he knew she wasn't she.
Yeah.
He knew she wasn't he when he asked you that. And it annoys me to watch something like that and watch a vulnerable man like yourself with so much strength to be vulnerable just kind of take it. So I really want to highlight that, and just to say we're not going to do that today. We're going to go a completely different route, and I really want to find out more about Craig. Not Craig the sniper, who's done his job very fucking well. I want to know about Craig, right? So the first question I want to know is not what it's like to kill a man. I want to know, how many lives do you think you've saved? Now, before you answer this, I actually want you to try and do some quick maths, if you can, in regards to not just the troops that you actually saved, but just you doing your job over the 23 years. If you were to have a guess, how many people do you think you've saved?
That's a hard one, isn't it? Because sometimes when you're doing a mission, either sniping or normal soldiering skills, you're saving people you don't even know about, but
into the hundreds, maybe?
Probably thousands.
There you go, then.
Yeah, for the tours that I've done in my life, when shit hits the fan, I've been there and I've stood my ground and fought. Do you know what I mean? And I've saved lives. But I don't look at it as that. Mm-hmm. I look at it as just doing my job. Mm-hmm. And I've been in some shit situations. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What is the shittest situation you have been in? Any jump to mind?
When I phoned my wife up to say goodbye, I was in a situation in Iraq, in a place called the P-Jock. Now, from Basra Palace to the P-Jock, you could walk it in 10 minutes, but it takes 2.5 hours to drive it, because you get fucking absolutely smashed by insurgents. And the P-Jock itself is next to a prison. And basically, from 11 o'clock at night till 5 o'clock in the morning, it is the gates of hell, because they want to get the prisoners, like high-ranking insurgents, out of this prison, and they just try and attack it, and you've got to defend it. And they got to the point where they were coming like monkeys. They were just climbing everywhere, and we had the chefs on the machine guns. We were using cooking oil because we ran out of gun oil. And where I was in shooting, I phoned Tanya up, and she said to me, she goes, "What's that noise?" And I said, "Oh, don't worry about it, don't worry about it." And I said to her, I said, "Look, I love you." And she goes, "Yeah, I love you too." I kept saying, "Look," she goes, "I love you too." And then I said, "I'm all good. I'll phone you in the morning. I promise you I'll phone you in the morning." And she goes, "Yeah, I know you will." But in my head, that was me saying, "Look, shit's hitting the fan here, and we're getting overrun, and I don't want to. I want her voice to be the last one I've heard."
Yeah, cool.
You know, and we was on the roof, and the next morning she ain't got a fucking clue what was going on, you know. And then I rang her up and I said, "Yeah, everything's fine." We just started talking, you know, and that's the closest. That's the closest. One of the closest I've been. Yeah.
I need you to do me a favour.
Yeah.
Don't cry today, because if you do, I will, and this will be a shit podcast.
Yeah, just cuddling each other over an open fire.
So, yeah, I wanted to start with the how many lives you save, simply because I've never heard you being asked that. And to me personally, and you know, I don't really want to come across as a fanboy or anything, but you're the biggest role model I've seen in a long time. No British role models come to my mind. Now they fucking do, you know. And you know, you get the likes of the David Goggins, which me personally, yeah, great, well done. He's like done some crazy things, but I don't relate to him. So out of today, I really want you to kind of, out of this, I want people to relate to you, you know, because if we go back to your upbringing, just a normal lad from Cheltenham.
Yeah.
But what was your upbringing like?
I had a good upbringing. Don't get me wrong. You know, I wasn't misused or anything, but my mum was very Victorian. So I didn't really have a childhood. I had a childhood where I was working like a Victorian chimney sweep or something, you know, because we had horses, we had dogs and everything. And I was getting up at 4 a.m, doing the horses. And then I'll come back from school, finish off doing the horses, do my homework, go to bed. And it was like that until I joined the army, from when I was 10 years old until I joined the British Army, you know. And yeah, it was full on. And my mum used to give me £5 a week to clean the dogs out. Because she had a massive kennel at the bottom of the garden, and that was where I got my pocket money from. And I suppose I really didn't have a childhood where I could go out with friends who were downtown. You know, I never had my first fight. I never had my first drink until I joined the British Army. You know, everything. I just had a shallow childhood.
You moved around a lot, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, because my mum was in the RAF, my father was in the RAF. My father left when I was an early age, so we did move around a bit.
Never stayed in contact?
No, he lives in Manchester somewhere, as far as I know. You know, he has reached out, but, you know, there's a lot of water under the bridge, and I'd rather, instead of opening old wounds and emotions, you know, I'd rather just leave my life the way it is, just me and my wife and the dogs, you know, and my 2 daughters. So, yeah, but, yeah, childhood was all right. You know, I'm not going to blame that for my mental health at all.
Yeah, of course, yeah. From reading your book, coming from a very different upbringing, I realised that your mum, correct me if I'm wrong, but was maybe a little bit, well, let's say she wasn't too loving.
No.
I remember a part in your book where you, I think actually a few times came back from tour and there was no one there to meet you.
No one at all. No one at all. I remember, because you finish your tour, you land at Bryce Norton, and then the bus would take you into camp, and all the families would be there. And this is before I met Tanya. Many a time I used to get off the bus and just go back to the block because I didn't want to go home. So I just go back to the block, single man room, and sit there, play my PlayStation, because you have a month off when you come back off tour. So you're in camp for a couple of weeks because they depressurise you, and then you go on leave for a month, and I just didn't want to do anything. So I just stayed in my block. And a few lads stayed in block as well. You know, but all the money that you spent, fucking weekend millionaire, you're like that. You know, you live in the high life for a while, you know, and it's good. It's good to do that. Yeah. I thought it was good, you know, but it's a shame that I didn't have that and people felt sorry for me in the army, thought I was a bit of a loner.
Yeah.
You know, because I think I was a bit of a loner to begin with, because I've had such a sheltered childhood. I've always been a bit of a loner. You know, when I used to do the horses and the dogs, I was on my own. I got a brother, but he was never interested in that sort of thing, and he got away with loads of shit. It was me that used to graft, you know. But yeah.
So going away on tour, did you ever get anyone kind of sending you off, or was that another thing where just go by yourself?
Just go by
so
myself.
Even at a 16-year-old, you literally just got off by yourself?
Yeah. Well, I joined the army.
That's a lot to take on as a 16-year-old, no?
I remember when I first joined the army, I had a school blazer. I had to take the patch off. You know, that was my suit down to the guards depot. And when I was in the guards depot, I was the only donkey walloper in my section. You know, yeah, that's what they called you, a donkey or horse shagger. God knows that. Yeah, because it was the guards, it was the grenadiers, Coldstreamers, Irish, Welsh. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it was like the best of the elite, because they're the guards and there's a donkey walloper. You know, and I remember my sergeant used to make me stand at the end of my bed with a pay stick, and I had a brass knob on the end of it. Not a knob, but a brass little fucking catch thing. And he used to make me stand at the end of my bed, and my bed was by the door. I remember the lights used to switch on. It used to be these beam lights, and you go, boom. You used to wake up, and I used to go, fuck, standing in my bed. I used to walk in, and he used to go, stand in front of me, look at me like this, and I go, morning, sergeant, and he'd smack me on the head with a fucking pay stick. And I was like, fuck. And at night, when you go to bed, before you switch the light out, night, sergeant, he used to smack me on the head with a fucking pay stick. 365 days that fucking happened for. No wonder I got fucking brain damage.
Yeah.
Should have wore a helmet.
Is this the one you knocked out later on, or was that
someone
else?
Yeah. No. Finally, I went to Canada on a big exercise, and there's a village that everyone goes to, and it's called Medhat, and loads of strip clubs, loads of gambling dens, everything. And off the subject, they hired a woman mayor, and she shut everything down, and the village went bankrupt because there was nothing. Yeah. So they're trying to kick her out, trying to get all the soldiers back in there. And I remember this, we went to this nightclub, and I fucking saw him at the bar, and he goes, hey, and I went, fuck off, fucking out. And he woke up, and he went, drink? I said, yeah, fair enough then. We
So
just had a fucking
that
drink.
done, yeah?
Yeah,
it
was done in
but he knew it was coming, didn't he?
Yeah.
Just while it's on top of my head, Bloody Marys. Is that when you learn to swim and you got a slap on the back?
Oh yeah, we had a swimming pool in the guards depot, and he used to get you had a pat. He had polio in one leg, so he had a fucking limp like that. He was an old guy, must be in his 60s, and he used to make you sit at the end of the pool, and he'd go, Bloody Mary, and slap your back as hard as he fucking could, and you just fall in. There was no soldiering skills in that. I think it was just bestiality. What you do. I remember I got my first tattoo in Woking, a little devil, and he saw it, and he fucking cracked it one. I was like, oh. And then he used to get the non-swimmers at the deep end, and we're at the shallow end, and he used to get us doing this. Right?
To create
so
waves.
you got 20 people doing that. It was like a fucking tsunami. And he used to make the non-swimmers swim to the diving, to the shallow end. It's fucking horrendous, you know. But yeah, Bloody Marys, fucking pat.
Funny. Just going back to what you said about when you first went to go to the army, you had the scale blazer on because you couldn't afford proper clothes, right?
The suit, yeah.
I kind of got that impression from reading your book that and even throughout the book, you often didn't have much. Would you say that's accurate?
No, I didn't have much. Not at all.
Even like as a kid, you were wearing second-hand clothes, going to charity shop and things, is that right?
No, I used to get clothes off my mum.
All right.
Hand-me-downs off my mum.
Really?
You know, she's a fucking unit. I was wearing her jeans, and I had holes in and fucking shit like that. And I goes, right, we're off. And my best mate Tom, he used to go, come on, Craig, we'll go downtown. I used to get these fucking jeans used to be up here because my mum's only small. I'm getting big and taller. Fucking like that, and I thought, this is fucking wank.
We laugh, but no doubt as a child, it was probably quite embarrassing.
It was, yeah, because my mum cleaned the dogs out, and she used bleach, so the jeans she had bleach marks on them. So when I had them, they had fucking bleach marks, holes in, and God knows what. But now it's fucking fashion. I should be born now. I don't know, like you. Yeah. And the shoes I had, she used to get the Gola shoes from a farm shop. And I remember I used to ride my bike up and down the drive, and I used to put my foot on the back wheel to do a skid, and it wore the fucking tread away. Fuck, I got a kicking for that. You know what I mean? But
I got the impression that your mum was very easily annoyed and quite like flew off the handle. I remember one little story in your book where I think you came back from tour, you'd probably spent all your money boozing or doing whatever, and you asked her for 50 quid and she kicked you out.
Yeah,
right?
what it was is that I've got a big heart, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I brought my mate home with me, and we just come off a big exercise and a big tour, and I spent all my money, just weekend millionaire in it, and he spent all his, and I thought he needs to get back to London. So I said to my mum, can I borrow 50 quid? And she went fucking absolutely berserk at me. She threw a plate of food at me and everything. I said, fuck this, I don't need this. And I think that's the last time I went home, and I just packed my bags and sat at the train station.
Do you think that's why you really liked the army, because home was like that?
Yeah, the ethos of the lads, the bullshit. People say, do you like the bullshit? Yeah, the bullshit wasn't that bad, the discipline wasn't that bad, because once you get an older soldier and you move on a bit, everything sort of relaxes a bit and you become more disciplined. I suppose you become more institutionalized, because 16 years old, I do not know what civvy street's like.
Yeah.
If I joined the army at 20 or 21, I've experienced civvy life. Get yourself a bit of an attitude, but because I joined at 16, I was fresh, so they built me up fresh, but the army became a massive family to me, a fucking massive family. And even when I got married, it was always army first, marriage second. And I didn't mean it to be like that, but she met me while I was in the army, and it's always been the army. Yeah, and I love it. If they rang up now and said, look, we want you back, without a fucking doubt,
It shocks me that when you say that,
I'd fucking go, without a fucking doubt.
Why is that?
It's the camaraderie, it's the lads. It's you'll never experience it when you're in the fucking shit. In the fucking shit. And you don't know if you're going to make it, and you're looking at your lads and they're fucking all wide-eyed and massive, and you're helping each other. And at the end of the firefight or the end of the exercise, you get together and you think, fucking good bunch of blokes. Good bunch of blokes.
Is that a bond that you probably never felt outside with family and friends? Because you've never had much friends, and family didn't seem too supportive.
No.
So,
I've got one friend. I've got one civvy friend. His name's Tom. And he looks like the bloke Sloth out of the Goonies. You know what I mean? Heart of fucking gold. Fucking gold. And I love him. You know what I mean? And known him since I was about 5 years old. And we've grown up together. And he's such a fucking character. And he's probably the only friend I really talk to now, and plus my number two that I was sniped with. They're the only two people I really keep in contact with.
Really, yeah. I noticed there's a lot of little stories of you and Tom throughout the book, like Thick as Thieves comes to my mind.
Mate. yeah, he's done a lot of. I remember the. Did you ever read the bit in the nightclub? Is that in the book?
I didn't know if I could mention that. Can we mention that?
Of course you can. Yeah.
Let's go on then. Tell that story, because that's a great one.
I was in this nightclub. It's transferred into a church. Well, it's a church transferred into a nightclub. And I was at the bar. I was chatting this bird up, and the corner of my eye, I could see Tom on the dance floor. I thought, what the fuck's he doing? And he's got this wheelchair, and he's like this fucking wheelchair. This woman in this wheelchair flapping around like a fucking maniac. And I think, okay. And I said to this bird, and I said, oh, are you with somebody? She goes, yeah, I'm with my sister. And I went, oh, right, yeah, she's in the wheelchair. And I looked, and I go, is she strapped in? And she goes, why has she got to be strapped in? He goes, because my mate's on the dance floor with her. And she was fucking going off us. And then he come up to me, he was sweating his tits off with all the effort he'd been putting with this wheelchair. And then she goes to her mate. She goes, oh, I need the toilet. And Tom goes, oh, I'll take you. And he put her up he put her up this flight of stairs, like some sort of spud trolley going up the stairs like this, one wheel at a time. And then he's going up this, checking behind him, going up stairs. And he took her to the toilet, and then he put her down the stairs as well, like that. And I stood there and goes, fucking hell, Tom, disabled toilet just on the corner there, mate. And he goes, fucking hell, I'm bloody knackered. Puncher, the wheelchair, the puncher. She couldn't go anywhere. She's just going around in circles like that. He's such a fucking character. Yeah.
What happened when he actually took her to the toilet?
He came back with blood on him. And I said, Tom, where's the blood from? He goes, oh, it's not mine. Some bloke took the piss out of her, so I just fucking knocked him out. And then you saw her with the bird I was trotting up, fucking talking to the doorman. And I thought, Tom, we need to go, mate. And he goes, why? We're fucking enjoying a good night. I think I'm in here. I think I'm in. I goes, no, Tom, we need to fucking go now. You know what I mean? And we actually left the nightclub. We cheeked it, basically. Fucking lunatic he was. Yeah.
Funny. Class. Yeah. All right then, so moving on. Actually kind of going back really, just quickly mentioned about you not really having much as a child. If there was someone at home watching who also thinks that they don't have much, what would you say to them? Because I look at you from a child not having that much, but you ended up becoming one of, if not the best sniper in the world. And I'd like people to really hear that it doesn't matter if you've not kind of got much or not had the best upbringing or whatever, you can still really become something of yourself. So if there is someone watching at home that thinks that I haven't got much, maybe relating to your story currently so far, what would you say to them?
Keep building. That's what I would say. Keep building until you've got something. You know, yeah, I had nothing. And I begged, stealed and borrowed all my life, you know, and yeah, I've amounted to a lot. But yeah, just keep building, keep talking, keep building, and you will amount to something. Mm-hmm. You know, you may be nobody, but you're someone. And that is important. Mm-hmm. You are fucking someone. Right? And I've had people say, yeah, but but you're fucking someone, mate. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And so that will go a long way if you had that mentality to go a long way. You know, it's like when I went snipering. I went down to the sniper school. I had fuck all. I had nothing. They were all paras and guards, and they had the rifles, they had the ghillie suit, you had sticks, you have odd boards, they had range finders, spotting scopes. I had my bag ready for a 9.5-week course.
So why didn't you have the things they had?
Because my regiment's not...
right, because you came from a different regiment.
Yeah, and my regiment had fuck all, and they put me down there, and I don't know if they did it on purpose to throw me off.
Challenge you.
Yeah, challenge me. And then I remember a Coldstream guard coming up to me, and he went, you know, mate, there's a fucking rifle, you can borrow that. I went, fucking brilliant. And I think I went back to the regiment every weekend and went into the tailor shop. Tanya never saw me, and I made my ghillie suit, and I made it better. And the next time, for the next week, I thought, my knees are hurting. Fucking, I'm going to do that. And I went back to the tailor shop again, spent hours in there, you know.
Why did you do that when you...
Because I strive to be better than everyone else. And that's my mentality. I strive to be better than anyone. My fitness, they used to call me machine, right? Because I just ran. And yeah, fucking just go. And people used to fucking hate, because I was a PTI as well. So every time the gym door opened and I used to pop out with my PTI top on, their heads used to go, fuck's sake, how far are we fucking going? And I used to play mind games with them, right? Because you need a strong mind. I used to take them for a 5-mile run, and then come past camp, and then run past camp again. And I used to think, oh, we're going in camp. And then literally go this way, and they go, fuck's sake, I carried on, you know, and...
Just to toughen them mentally.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because it's not all swings and roundabouts, you know.
How important is it to kind of make sure that you experience something like that in terms of, just in general life, to toughen your mind mentally? How important is it to really test your own limits to see how tough you are? Because in this day and age, with the way convenience is these days and everything's just at a touch of a button, I really feel like not a lot of people get tested these days, especially kind of off their own back. So what's your kind of approach on that, and what's your opinion on testing yourself to get mentally tough?
Put yourself out of your comfort zone. Do something that it's going to be enjoyable, but it's going to put you out of your comfort zone. Right? Leave your phone at home. Leave your phone at home. Leave your iPad at home for one day. Just not got it. On my phone, it says on there, you've been 58 minutes less on your phone than you were yesterday. That's what it says on my phone. And I think, fuck, I'm going to beat that. I'm going to fucking beat that. You've been 2 hours less on your phone than you were yesterday. And I thought, I'm going to beat that as well. You know? And when we go out, me and Tanya go out, she takes her phone. I just leave mine behind, because it's not a necessity for me to have a phone, where it is through Instagram, people talking to me. But I leave it, you know. Put yourself out of your comfort zone, and you become a better person. And you'll become to realise, I don't fucking need that. I don't need that, you know? Yeah,
class. Just on the note of when you turned up to sniper training, you only had your bag. I remember a time in the book where you actually landed in a war zone and you had only blank ammunition. Was that right?
Yeah. So basically, we're going into Iraq, and we were in Kuwait, and we were about to go to the invasion force, and we were about to push over, and they went, no, cancelling it. Why are we cancelling it? We've only got blank ammo.
So you nearly went in with
blank ammo.
Is that just the British Army or?
Somebody fucked up.
Just someone?
Yeah, okay. Somebody ordered all the ammunition, but it was all fucking blank. Do you imagine going in and going bang, bang, and they're not dying, they'd be going, fucking hell, you know? But yeah, it was, and I remember the Paras were doing dry training in Kuwait, and the Kuwaitis were coming over. The Iraqis were coming over, giving themselves up. And they were saying, we give up. And they fucked them off. They said, look, the invasion ain't even started yet, mate. And they fucked them back over to the border. You know, yeah, it's funny what people do. That was the biggest fuck up.
I read it and I couldn't believe it. Yeah. I really couldn't believe it. I thought, is that really?
And at the end of that tour, right, because it gets cold in the desert, it goes down to the minuses. And I remember we were waiting to get our flight back, and the sergeant major from the logistics was walking around. He goes, how do you find your puffer jacket? You what? Your puffer jacket and your puffer line trousers. What are you on about? We never got that. How do you find your mag torches and your Gerbers and all that? What are you on about? And he went round to everybody, and everyone goes, we ain't got fucking...
You were meant to have all of it.
We were meant to have it. But if you went to the port, where all the kit was, walk around with fucking flashlights, fucking puffer jackets on, all the gear, you know what I mean? It never got as far as forward as... Yeah, so some logistics we need to learn by.
The question that's come up in my mind now is, like, what has went right? Like, so, meaning, you know, if you weren't at home getting kind of placed to it, you're at camp getting twatted on the head with a stick, you get sent to war with no fucking ammunition. You know what I mean? What's like, has anything actually gone smooth?
No.
Fucking hell.
No, not even snipering goes smooth. But yeah, there's stories at snipering.
Let's get into that. So, sniper training, no doubt, quite hard, right?
Yeah.
Very low success rate.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what it takes to become a sniper.
They knock you down. They knock all the shit of soldiering out of you and then rebuild you a different person. I remember when I first met a sniper. I was in Iraq. He was in Al Amara, a big football stadium that we overtook, and I went for a little walk. And I remember climbing the steps right to the top of the football stadium. The view was fucking amazing, and they had snipers around. And I remember talking to this sniper. And he didn't even look at me. He just kept his eye on the scope all the time, and he was totally fucking focused. And he told me they just rebuild you. They just rebuild you and make you a better person. And then he looks at you, and he looks straight through you, and you're like that. Fuck, I want that. I want that. And when you see the snipers, because there's usually 16 in a platoon, and when you look at them, they get respect, and they get treated like adults, and that's what I wanted. You know what I mean?
No more Bloody Marys for snipers then?
No more Bloody Marys for snipers. And I wanted to do that. And that's when, at the end of your tour, they go around, because you've been away for 6 or 9 months, they say, right, you need to do career courses. What do you want to do? And I said, I want to be a sniper. And you fucking can't. You're household cavalry. Fair enough. What do you want to be? I want to be a fucking sniper. Next tour, what do you want to be? I want to be a fucking sniper. You know? And eventually the household cavalry started letting snipers in, you know, because they are a fucking major asset on the battlefield.
I was going to ask, how kind of powerful are a sniper? I remember reading in the book again that it can literally turn the tide of a war off that one man.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah. There's no such thing as lone wolf anymore. You always work as a pair, but that pair can seriously fuck people up. You know, if you're good at your job.
I can imagine, kind of, once you've got all those skills, you feel very powerful, very confident, very...
If you're
as a bloke, you know?
Yeah, you do.
I bet.
And near my end of my time in my army career, I worked at the sniper school for 2 years. And it was fucking brilliant. I fucking loved it.
Teaching other snipers?
Oh, mate, teaching them. Yeah. And there's little neeks and little tricks of the trade that you can fucking say, look, try this, try that. You know, don't try this, try that. And, you know... Yeah, it's good. It's good to see them what they were, and when they pass out, you know, like there was 30 on my course. I think, only 5 passed.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of failure rate.
So what is the actual training? What does it when I say what does it take to be a sniper, I mean, what do you like? Can you give an example of an assessment? Like, how far do you need to run? What do you?
So basically, you do an in-test, and the in-test involves you got to do a 2-miler with kit on. You've got to do it in 10 minutes. This 2-miler, I think it's 10 minutes, might be shorter. And then you've got to do a CFT, which is combat fitness test, which is 8 miles. And a sniper, you carry more weight.
How much weight are we looking at?
Probably 80 pounds. 80 pounds on your back.
40-ish kilo?
Yeah.
Just under 40 kilo?
Yeah, but a normal one, you do 20 kilo, 44 pound on your back. But as a sniper, you need to be prepped to, because you're like a snail, basically. You're like a hermit. You've got to carry it home with you, because you're sustainable on the ground for 40 to 72 hours. Yeah. So you've got to carry all that kit with you. And then once you've done that, you do a navigation. You do navigation in the day, and then you do navigation in the night, and you're on your own. So if you fuck up, you're on your own. And the lad used to stitch because you had an ammo box, which is just a metal box you used to keep your ammunition in, and they had a siloon. You ever been fishing? You get those little siloons and you shake them, they glow up, glow sticks. The glow stick will be on top. And so when you get to your checkpoint, you used to get the bit of paper out of the ammo box, write your name on it, put it in, put a glow stick on top and fuck off. Lads were putting the glow stick inside the box and shutting it. So they get to the box and they can't find it like that. And they spend another half an hour and it's timed. You got like 2 hours to do it in. The lads were failing because they were stitching each other up and it was just fucking wankers.
The part where you got dropped off in the middle of Wales, is that the navigation part?
Yeah, night nav. Yeah. I did a night nav in the Black Mountains in Wales. And I won that one. I came in first on that one and I was absolutely freezing. I remember fell into a bog, this much in a bog, and I had my rifle holding me up and I thought I couldn't even feel the bottom. And I went, what the fuck is that? And I pulled a fucking length of grass out of my fucking nose like that. I don't know if it went in my brain or something. I fuck knows. And I went, what the fuck? And I got out and it was absolutely fucking freezing. And I thought, I'm going to can it. That's the first time ever where I thought, I'm freezing fucking cold. I've just had a lump of straw at my fucking nose. This is fucking wank. I'm fucking freezing.
Well, exact question, why are you doing it?
Something in my mind went, no, don't fucking do that, Craig. Don't do that. You're better than this. You're fitter than this. Let's fucking do it. Keep moving. Keep your core moving and fucking go. And I did. And I popped around all the checkpoints around the Black Mountains, fucking up and down there, and I came in.
So you mentioned that being the only time you wanted to quit, or just one of the worst times you wanted to quit, the closest time you came to quitting?
The other one was in the Badger hole, and the Badger was trying to get me out of the hole.
Oh, I've not heard that one.
No. It was in a place called Car Went, and the Car Went used to be a nuclear war base for the Americans, and they abandoned it, and it is fucked up. It's like a city, and all the houses are red brick, and you patrol around it, and you can go into people's houses, and they've got coffee cups on the table still, with tea in it and shit like that. Well, it's mouldy as fuck. Hospital's got beds in, and it's got like a proper train station where it comes off the main track. The special forces use it to explosive entries, so there's big holes everywhere. And I remember I thought I was getting chased because they bumped me. So I went down a badger hole.
They bumped you?
Yeah, the DS, the instructors, they wanted to catch me. It's like a mini escape and evasion sort of thing. So I hid in this badger hole, and I thought, what the fuck? And they were fucking, I was like, this is fucking shit. fucking badger, fuck off. And he was trying to get my boot, everything. I thought, fuck, I'm going to get massive. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I don't want to fail. I don't want to fail this, but I'm getting attacked by a fucking, fuck off, like that. And you try and shoot it, but you got blanks. And you're thinking, what the fuck? It's a natural reaction to do something like that. I thought, fucking, this is... Yeah.
So those 2 times you were that close to quitting.
Yeah.
How important is kind of the self-talk of not to quit? Because I think, again, another thing these days is it is easy to quit.
Yeah.
So what kind of stopped you quitting? And what just generally kept you going in the times you either wanted to quit, obviously the training aspect, but then if it was maybe something a bit more serious, kind of how do you just carry on in that time when your body's sore and,
Because it's not going to last forever.
Good one.
That's what clicks into my mind. when I'm fucking
Pain is
absolutely
temporary.
hanging out. My granddad, who's my father figure, fucking miss him dearly, died in 94. So he never saw me progress to be a sniper. He said to me, take strength of others falling by the wayside. So when you see somebody you want to run and you're fucking hanging out and somebody's even hanging out worse than you, you're like, fucking hell, I'm better than you. I'm better than you as well.
I like that.
I'm fucking going for it. So I've took my strength off others,
Yeah.
you know, and yeah, it's not going to last forever. And, you know, and you will mend. The human body's an amazing thing. It will mend. And I failed special forces because of what I'd done. Because, do you want to hear this? Yeah. I went for SF. Yeah. And I went down there for 2 weeks to do like a briefing course. And they said, yeah, I'm ready to come along to the...
Is this a step up from sniper?
Yeah, to be the SAS.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I thought, yeah, brilliant. I'm gonna crack on. And Tanya really supported me because there's a 95% divorce rate in the SF family. You know what I mean? Because they just get used and abused and everything. And I thought to myself, I'm going to do this. That's what I want to do. I'm fit enough, you know, I'm mentally tough enough, and I want to do it. So I was doing endurance, which is 64 kilometers in 19 hours. So that's like 30 odd miles. And you got like 50 pounds on your back and your rifle and your fucking tab on it. And you start from one end of the Brecon Beacons to the other, turn around and come back again. And I got turned around, come back up again. And this guy was following me. And he was in the logistics corps. Nice guy. Got to know him in the cookhouse and the NAFI and all that. And I stopped him in the woods. And I said, mate, you've been following me. You can't follow me. And he said, I don't know where I'm going. I said, what do you mean? He says, I'm fucking lost. And I went, right, stay here. And I ran to the bottom of the woods and there was a gate. Checked my map and I thought, checkpoint's on the right-hand side. Ran back and he's setting his mini flares off for the stress because that's the only time if you're distressed or you're injured. So I thought, what are you fucking doing, mate? It's fucking down there. DS tipped up, the instructor's tipped up. What the fuck's going on? What the fuck's going on? What are you fucking doing helping him and all that? And they treat you like that. They try and mentally break you. And he goes, right, where are you? And I got a bit of grass because you're not allowed to point with your finger. And I went, yeah, I'm here. And he goes, what are you waiting for? And he goes, in fact, stay there. Got to the other lad. And he goes, where are you? He says, no, I've got a clue. He goes, you're fucking there, dickhead. And he goes, right, fucking off you go. So they set him off. He went left. Right? I went after him because I didn't want him to fail. So I went after him and I stopped him, tapped him, mate, it's right, mate. You've got to go right. Land Rover behind me. Come on, lad, jump in. You failed. I was like, fuck. And Tanya always brings it up. Yeah, she goes, always brings it up. And to not follow on and crack on and keep doing it, I think I got more invested into my marriage. You know, me and Tanya are really, really fucking close. And I put her through enough tours of Iraq and Afghan. And I didn't want to worry anymore because I wouldn't hardly see her if I was in the FS. So I made a command decision not to carry on.
Is that quite heavy to carry in terms of...
It's one of my biggest guilts.
Is it, yeah?
Yeah, not going SF. One of my biggest guilts.
What about in terms of... what I was going to say there, in terms of... Is it hard to carry in terms of the effects it has on your relationship? Because this is obviously what your passion is and what you want to do. But it doesn't just affect you. It obviously affects Tanya as well. Is it?
But no, because it was my decision. It was my decision. She goes, Craig, I'll just support you. I'll do this and I'll do that. And I said, no, but this is my decision. My decision. And it's the unknown, isn't it? It's the unknown. If I didn't do it, would my marriage have lasted if I got in? But I didn't want to experience that because we are fucking close. We are a fucking unit, you know. So I made that command decision not to do it. And snipering to me was second to none from SF anyway.
Brilliant. Let's talk about guilt and shame because I think everyone can relate to it. I've done things in the past I'm not proud of. Bit of guilt, bit of shame here and there. How do you deal with it yourself? And if anyone watching from home is aware or not that they have got guilt and shame around things they've done in the past, what advice could you give to them and how do you do it yourself?
I don't think I could give advice, to be honest with you, because I still suffer from it. I still suffer from a lot of guilt and a lot of some stuff that I've seen and stuff that I've done. You know, command decisions on the ground that I've made and people have got hurt people have lost legs and arms, and I've made the decisions. I made that decision to put that man there, and he's just got fucking shot. That's the guilt that I carry sometimes, you know. One incident was on top of a hill, and I said to my one of my call signs, because there's 4 wagons we were in, I said, right, you 2 wagons stay there. I'm going to go into the dead ground. I'm going to scoot round and I'll give you cover and fire on the other side. And I moved and I said, stop. I goes, no, you 2 go. Hit a fucking IED.
So it could have been you?
Yeah, it could have been me. Yeah, hit an IED. The driver, one of the drivers lost both his legs. The other one broke his ankle. I think the gunner went deaf. Went deaf. And I carry that on. I carry that guilt, you know, because the last tour that I'd done, it was their first tours, and I remember I never should have fucking done it, but I promised their family that I'd bring them back, and I shouldn't have done that, you know, because it's war. You can't predict what's going to go on the battlefield, and I carry a lot of guilt. I carry a lot of guilt sniping. You know, I've killed people, and I think if you enjoy it, you enjoy killing people, there's something fucking wrong with you. You've got like a switch loose. But if you feel guilt, you know, I start looking at people as targets, not people. Because if I think of them as people, and I remember Tanya saying to me once, but they might have kids and mums and they got family and all that. And I just say to her, it's either them or me at the end of the day. And I said, I bet they wouldn't even think twice to doing it to me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I carry a lot of guilt. And how do I cope with it? I isolate myself, which I shouldn't, and I'm an advocate for mental health with men, and I recommend that they talk and everything, but I don't. I'm my own worst enemy. I give advice, but I isolate myself.
I can definitely tell you're harsh on yourself, like.
Yeah, and I watch cartoons, and because I watch cartoons because it's escapism for me to watch something that's not real, and I just watch a cartoon.
Zone off for a bit.
Yeah, it's not like little kids' cartoons, 4-year-olds like Spider-Man, stuff like that I would just watch and I just get lost in it. And Tanya would say to me, go downstairs, Craig, watch a cartoon, and I get lost in it. Also, I write in this book. Now, I've got a book and it's about this fat and it's got a lock on it. And what's in that book is the most vilest things that my mind can fucking think of. And I write it in this book and I close it. And the only select few people have ever seen this book, my therapist, one of them, I think Tanya's seen it and she didn't tell me. And then she said, I have seen your book. And I think, okay. And we don't talk about it. We don't talk about it because it's my book. It's my escapism. And I write things down in this book and I get fucking angry when I'm writing this book and it's about myself, you know. I hear a voice in my head and I'm on medication for it and it says that I'm vile. And it constantly says that I'm fucking vile. And when I laugh, it gets louder. And when I laugh, it gets louder. And when I laugh, it gets louder. And when I laugh, it's fucking in my fucking face. And it's overpowering. Well, I think I just want to be on my fucking own. I just want to be on my own. And we don't go out because this fucking voice overpowers me. Now I take pills for it and it subsides it. But it's still there. I can still feel it. There's like a tempo in my head. And it's a figure that sits on my right-hand side. And my therapist goes, that's funny. That's where you got shot in the helmet. And that's where you got blown up, all on the right side. You know? And I think, oh, okay, all right. But it's still in my fucking head. And it still drives me fucking insane. It's like having tinnitus. You know? It's constantly in my head. And I struggle with that. I struggle with that.
And this is just generally you're doing day-to-day tasks and that's there?
Constantly. Fucking constantly. And it sounds crazy, but it's become a friend, if you know what I mean. It's a male figure, and it's in my head.
Spent a lot of time together?
Yeah. You're vile, you're vile, you're vile, you're vile. And that's all it says.
What's your kind of view on that? Because you've described that in a very visual way, as if it's almost a person or, you know, it's there on your shoulder. What's your kind of view on that? Do you, like, I know you've just said there about it's almost like your friend.
You begin to believe it. Like Tanya said, you're a good-looking man and all that. I go, it's just fucking me. She goes, fucking hell, Craig, you know, and she dresses me. She goes, put this on because I'm a scruffy fucker. If I could wear a Hessian sack, and I'll be happy as pig shit. And I think that's due to my upbringing of hand-me-down clothes. When I first met her, I had a T-shirt on, and my nipples were hanging out, I think, I had holes in everywhere. And she goes, you look scruffy as fuck. You know what I mean? But then she goes, look, I want it, and she sorts me out. She buys me stuff because I've got no drive to do that. Do you know what I mean? Because of my mental health, because of my voices in my... When people say voice, it's not. It's a voice. One fucking voice. And when these doctors go, oh, you got voices. No, it's one fucking voice. You know? Yeah.
Okay. The just going back to the part where you were going to go down the deep, you stopped, you sent the two lads. I can understand how you would maybe look at that and think, I should have went, or that was a wrong decision, or whatever. But I've also heard you say you're a big believer in fate, right?
I got on my trigger finger. Fate don't fail me now. It's tattooed on my trigger finger, and I rub it every time because I'm not a religious person, but I just rub it all the time. And then I get behind the fucking rifle, and then I just send it, right? I've rubbed it so much, it just says, fail me now. That's what it says on it now. Tanya says, God, get it refilled in. I said, oh, maybe. It just says, fail me now on it. You know, so.
You've got a lot of tattoos.
Yeah.
Any of them kind of really meaningful?
I used to self-harm.
Did you?
Yeah.
I've never heard you say that before. All your podcasts or your book?
I used to self-harm. My granddad died, and people used to say I used to look at my granddad, and I used to cut myself. And
how old were you at this point?
Still in the army. Yeah, I was still at Knightsbridge.
No one knew?
Say again?
No one knew, did they? No?
No one really knew. I used to blame it on... I used to cut myself randomly, not just like people do on their arms, but randomly around my body. And I got tattoos because I enjoy having tattoos, and plus it was like the pain thing as well, if that makes sense, you know. And if I could get my body lasered off again, I'll get tattoos again because it's that pain thing. But I haven't done it for years, you know. Since I've been married, I haven't done it because she's given me the courage not to fucking do it because I do feel ugly, you know, guilt, the shame, everything. You know. It becomes overwhelming. And the best way that I cope with it then, which is not the fucking right way at all, was self-harming.
We both agree talking about your mental health is the first most important step. We both want to really kind of hit that stigma of men talking. You're a very vulnerable man, and I really respect you for it. I'd like to think I'm quite vulnerable myself. But how important is it opening up and being vulnerable? And I know in my eyes, it's a real sign of power and strength to be vulnerable. But what's your thoughts on that?
Men need to talk. Men need to break this stigma of I'm a fucking bloke. I'm a bloke. You know, you see him at the pub or you see him down the road, right, he thinks an old man, but when the doors are shut, he's crying his eyes out, you know, and that needs to stop. He needs to open up, you know. I think I said to you before we started talking here that I'm on a lot of medication, and medication is not the answer, and I've always said it's not the fucking answer, but if it gives you that even keel without you dropping, you know, and as well as talking, it will give you that uplift to talk, and it give you that power to talk, and finding the right person to talk to, you know. Every podcast that I've done, I've always said to people, if you're struggling, contact me. I
think it's a good point to mention that. Yeah. And for anyone who is watching, who is struggling, message me or Craig. I think with both, inboxes are always open.
So 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, my phone, I will answer it if you're fucking struggling, you know, to talk. And it is important to talk. And when I've done my school, which we'll talk about later, you know, people come down and it's like the first night they're like that. Second night they're fucking all talking. And that's the end of the game. Like you lads here, you're all fucking talking. Tip up as strangers, leave as friends. You know?
It's from what I see, it's a real fear of judgment why people stop talking. So again, just putting on that point of if you are struggling, reaching out to me and or Craig, and do not for 1 second think that we are going to judge you in any way, shape or form. We obviously wouldn't do that, and just I'd like anyone to take the opportunity to message us if you are struggling and literally just almost like with the way you put all your thoughts in that book, like I'd like to invite people to do that in a message to us. Say what you need to say, just get it off your chest, because I think that's really important to relieve a little bit of weight.
Yeah, exactly. You shouldn't be alone. You shouldn't be alone in your dark days. People should learn, especially the men, need to talk, you know, and that's the most important thing. But all we can do is advise, and it's up to that
we can just say
person
we're here
to find enough strength to go, I'm going to fucking do it. I'm going to fucking talk. I'm going to open up. And as soon as you feel open up, you feel clean. Like, another thing that I find helps me is having showers. If I'm having a really shit day, I have about 4 showers a day, and I feel better after it.
Because you feel dirty and you feel clean.
Yeah,
it's good. I like that. Yeah.
And I don't even have to wash myself with soap. Just go in the shower and wet myself, and I feel a bit better. Sit down, watch a cartoon, recock myself in my brain, and I think, right, I'm ready to strive on.
There's often I've done cold water swimming, and I've kind of made a joke out of it, but really, I'm speaking out loud now. I probably wasn't joking when I've done it and I've said, yeah, I'm going to go and wash some sins away.
Yeah, that's exactly. You feel better for it.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a good visualization of you kind of going into the water, feeling guilty, shameful, whatever you've potentially done, but then you come out clean.
Yeah. And just to have that respite for an hour, like when I come back from the gym, I'm buzzing, and having that respite for that hour where the voice is settled down in my head, and I feel better about myself, and I think, fucking, I feel all right. And Tanya goes, there's the Craig I married, that's the Craig I know. And then it hits you like a ton of bricks. Again, it's back to your fucking depression again. It's back to that. But there was a glimpse of happiness. So there is fucking
just
hope.
To give you a little break.
There is fucking hope.
Yeah. Talking about the gym and leading on from opening up, let's say someone has opened up and they are talking. I am a big believer of taking action. I'm an action man, let's say. All about putting something in place after the talking. So I know you're a big gym advocate. You mentioned cartoons. How kind of important is taking action and implementing things in your day-to-day routine, let's say? How important is that for your mental health?
Yeah, the gym is a big thing in my life. It always has been. You know, when I'm in the armed forces, it has been running. I can't run as much now, but running was a big thing. Me and Betsy used to go fuck off and just run for miles. But what I do, every time I wake up in the morning, I wake up at 3:30 every morning. Tanya thinks I'm fucking mental for doing it. And she goes, I don't know how you do it. And I thought, I turn my legs over and I put my feet on the ground, and in my head I'm going, I nod. I do it all the fucking time. I nod and I go, I'm committed. I'm committed. And I stand up.
Game time.
Right, gym, here we go. You know, get to gym at 3:45 and I just fucking crack an hour and a half or an hour in.
What's going through your mind when you're in the gym? Are you really using that as a way to kind of release a bit of anger? Because I'm presuming you're not doing it just to look in shape, right?
No, I'm doing it to help my mental health. And if I could say getting big is the downsize of getting the gym, I would say, yeah, the downsize of going to the gym all the time is getting big. But it's part and parcel of going to the gym and having a healthy diet and stuff like that, you know. But it cleanses me. It cleanses me. And I always say to people in the gym, because I've befriended a few people that go in early in the morning, I said the best part of the workout is having a shower afterwards, because you feel clean afterwards, you know, and you leave that gym and you go to work. You go to work with a different attitude because you've cleansed yourself. And I have tried to go to the gym in the evening, but I just can't fucking do it.
Yeah, I'm the same.
I cannot fucking do it.
Yeah.
I can't mope myself
Yeah.
enough to go in the evening. Plus there's complete moon monkeys that go in there. And because I've worked a 9-hour shift, motivation.
Yeah.
But as soon as I get up in the morning, fucking, I'm off.
Yeah, I'm a massive advocate of getting out the way early morning, simply not only to kind of mentally prepare yourself for the day, not from an energy perspective, but really, like, I think in a day and age where everyone's just, it's like chaos for everyone. It's just kind of, you go to work and the kids need picked up and this needs done and that needs done, and everyone's just so busy. I'm a big advocate of getting up and looking after yourself first.
Exactly.
And you could have the worst day in for God knows how long, but at least you've got up and you've done something which is making you slightly better than what you were yesterday.
Exactly. And when people say this, there's not enough time in the day, there is enough time in the day. You make it the time of your day. I go to bed at 9, half 9. I'm up at 3:30. You know, and you feel shit for the first week, and you will feel shit, but then your body will adapt to it, and you become more focused on what you're doing, and you just chase your goal. Chase your goal.
Yeah. I must say, I really admire your commitment. You know, I've.
My therapist said to me, "I was surprised, Craig, you're not on drugs or being an alcoholic." He's my therapist, and I went, "What?" And he goes, "Because you suffer from a CPTSD, chronic PTSD. You suffer from adjustment disorder. You suffer from hypervigilance, you know, depression, and all you do is go to the gym and watch cartoons and have 4 showers a day." And I thought, that's my way of coping it, and because of that woman over there as well.
It's a good point, that, because I mentioned in my talk last night that I see in my job a lot of people simply that have a poor mental health, but then they kind of offset that with drugs, alcohol, gambling, and these kind of short-term highs.
Yeah.
You know, so I guess it just really highlights the importance of something like the gym. And even if the gym's not your thing, for people listening at home, firstly, give it a go. And if it's the first time, you're probably going to be shit, but just keep on going, and eventually you'll love to enjoy it. Am I right?
Yeah, we will do. You'll see people at Christmas, New Year's resolution, and they go to the gym, and the membership goes fucking off the fucking scales. And the first, January, they're there.
Yeah.
February, you don't see them, but they're paying a gym membership still. You've got to keep persistence. It's persistence and persistence, you know. And don't go there to be big. Don't go there to be massive. Just go there to enjoy it. Go there for your mental health. Go there to make you feel better inside more than anything else.
Yeah.
And once you're still feeling better inside, you start eating healthier. Then you start thinking, right, I'm going to have a cheat day today. But you don't end up having a cheat day because you feel fucking guilty because you don't, and it's never ending circle. But you feel better for it at the end of the day.
Yeah. Awesome. Great. Let's move on to what you're currently doing now. So you're doing bushcraft survival skills?
Yeah.
Maverick School, is
the
it?
Maverick Survival School, yeah. It started, I think, a dream two years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago.
So you're living the dream now then?
Yeah, you could say it, and it's just getting bigger and bigger.
Class.
Just getting bigger and bigger, you know. I'm lucky enough to have access to a 57-acre wood block, you know. And last year, I had 1 weekend off. I fucking smashed every weekend out. And it was tiring. It was tiring for my mental health. And Tanya was worried about me because I was working 9 hours, gymming it in the mornings, and then doing this at the weekend. So what I do now is do it at the beginning of the month and end of the month, and have 2 weekends free. And it works better for me, for my mental health, you know. But yeah, I do anything for mental health. Veterans will come free down to the school, first line responders. And anyone else with mental health issues, they come down, and my therapist will come down, Ross. He will come down on a Saturday, and if you feel like talking to him, you know, you go for a walk in the woods and talk to Ross.
Class.
Yeah, he's it's a top thing, and I get a lot of enjoyment out of it. You know, when I come home from doing it on the Sunday, Tanya goes, "You fucking stink of wood and fire," and he goes, "But look at a smile on your face." So I'm buzzing because I've given my knowledge up there to people and they've gone away. It's not necessarily learning new skills, it's learning about yourself as well, you know. And it sounds mental when I say to people, hug a tree. And they said, why? He goes, because that tree sleeps at night, it talks, and you're holding it, and it gives you that vibe off. And it sounds mental, I know, but it fucking works. And they go, okay, I'll try that, and they get so much out of it.
Class.
And people just open up.
Class.
You know,
Class.
and the stuff that I've heard where people opening up, it's horrendous what people go through. You know, and then I say to them, I'm glad you're fucking talking, and I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, definitely. If there's anyone watching who is sat now thinking, fucking, I'd love to have a go at that, where did it contact you?
Just go onto the webpage, the Maverick Survival School. It's on obviously internet webpage. And there's an email address there. Just reach out to me, and we'll get through some dates.
Class.
Yeah.
Class.
And,
what about the future then? So, what's in store for you?
I want the school to get bigger. you know, and I think that's a dream of me and Tanya's, to get the school bigger and help more people. I like the school quite small. The maximum people I take is 6 because I think if I take 20 odd people, I'm teaching you here like this, and then I'm over here, you're doing something and you're not giving my attention.
It's almost less intimate, isn't it?
Exactly. And I like that, and I do one-to-ones as well and stuff like that. But I would like to bring more people on to help me, you know, and then just make the school bigger and do stuff like you do here, you know, this cinema with these lads here. Do something down south like that, you know, because there's not much that down south that I know that do stuff like this. Do cold water because the sea's right by you. Do bushcraft, have a barbecue, you know, get to know them. That's what I want. That's why I want the school to go, to eventually give up my full-time job because the survival school's taken over everything, and it's what I enjoy. You know, so to do my mental health good as well. So
how important is it for your mental health to know that you can kind of help other people? So, would you say it's a purpose of yours?
I don't realise sometimes. Tanya goes, "Fucking hell, Craig," and I think, "Yeah, I suppose I am really." You know, and I don't realise. And I suppose Tanya says to me, "That's the humbleness in you. That's because you're a humble person." And I think to myself, "Well, maybe I am." You know, and like you say, how many people have I saved? How many civilians have I saved since I've been doing the school for the last 2 years? You know, because people have been open up talking. I don't know.
I think, you know, no doubt you will, but remember that when that voice is saying you're vile, say fuck off. I've saved this many people and I've helped this many people. And I think that thing of purpose is a very important thing for people with mental health, because even if, you know, you don't have these type of skills and you're working Costa Coffee, you're still making someone's day that little bit better. And I think it's very important to give yourself that credit. Like, one of my old mentors asked me to thank myself one day, and I was like, "What the fuck do you mean thank yourself?" He said, "When's the last time you thanked yourself for working on yourself, for doing what you do? No one's making you run this bushcraft school. You could just happily go and work your job, spend your weekends with your missus, but you choose to do it because you want to help and you want to give back." And I think people need to remember to thank themselves.
Yeah, I don't think I have done. I've never done that. Never thanked myself. I think I take myself for granted. You know, with my mental health. And it's weird having, I always say to Tanya, people with PTSD would understand somebody with PTSD. And it's like a train tracks. You've got military, you've got civilian. It'll never cross because you've never seen what I've seen. But they go in line with each other and they'll go around corners and everything, and they will stay next to each other because PTSD is PTSD, you know. And yes, I don't know where I was going with it, but yeah, it's important.
Yeah, no, that purpose thing of giving back and helping others.
Yeah, purpose, But I struggle with purpose. I struggle with purpose massively. Since I've left the forces, you know, 23 years, half an hour, fucking gone. And I struggled with purpose. And I say to Tanya, I call it a wobble day. You know, people call it mental health, have a day off work, mental health day or something. I call it having a wobble because I don't want to say the word depression. You know, I don't want it to beat me saying I'm fucking depressed. You're having a little bit of a wobble, mate. You're having a little bit of a wobble. Reach out and talk.
Just to jump in there, one thing I'd like to highlight is, like I mentioned in my talk last night, about the language we use and how a lot of people say I am depressed, where I personally, especially if I'm dealing with any clients with depression, I like to try and get them to change that to I feel depressed. Because I feel depressed is, I am depressed is, that's them. I feel it's then just a feeling.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's a subtle difference, but a big difference at the same time.
I say to Ross when I see him every Thursday, and I said, I'm sad. I am fucking so sad.
Next time, just from my perspective, maybe try I feel sad. See if that's a little bit heavier. I mean, a little bit lighter, a little bit heavier. But I've seen you mention in the past that you're sad daily, just because everything that's been going on, everything that's happened.
Yeah. I just refuse to say the word depression. It's not going to beat me, you know. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Right. Well, anything else? Any final thoughts? Any final comments before we wrap it up?
anyone out there who is suffering, please talk. You know, life is valuable. I've learned life is valuable. Life is valuable. Being a sniper as well, I realise how life is valuable. So please talk. You know, it's important. And break the stigma. Break the stigma. Talk to a family member. Talk to a friend. Reach out to me and Kieran. Go on my Instagram. Fucking just drop me a message if you're seriously struggling, and I will talk to you. I will talk to you. I will get you down to the fucking school. You know, and we just do some bushcraft and eat shit and fucking talk. And we're doing for them 3 days. You feel much better about yourself.
Yeah, I think that's a good point as well. You literally said feel much better about yourself. A lot of people think poor mental health is anxiety and depression. Poor mental health can just be you feel shit.
Yeah.
You know, you've obviously got extreme cases of PTSD, but poor mental health you just don't feel right. You just feel shit. So if you are, as Craig says, reach out, speak up. Do not think you're going to get judged. I really believe that's the main thing that holds people back from speaking up. So yeah, I'd like to thank you for coming down.
No
It's
worries.
been an absolute fucking pleasure. Yeah, I think we'll finish it on that note. And where can people follow you?
On my Instagram, COH Craig Harrison on my Instagram.
Website is?
The Maverick Survival School.
Cool. And where can they get this fantastic book? Because
Any charity shop.
with your school blazer.
Yeah, school blazer. Yeah. Yeah, it's go online. I think they sell them on Amazon. Yeah, Amazon, they sell them on Amazon. The audio book is really good as well. And the bloke that does it, if you suffer from dyslexia or you find reading makes you fall asleep, right? The guy that does it, I don't know who he is, but he's absolutely fucking brilliant. And he does the voices for different characters, I do believe. Yeah, and he's really good. Yeah, but please buy it, you know. And
Mate, it's the first book I've ever read. And honestly, like, I've read it twice. I'm halfway through it again. It's an insane book. Like, I've never had anything, like, the fucking closest thing I've got to war is a school play fight, you know what I mean? And I feel like I was there with you, the way that it's described in here.
Would I try fighting?
Well, that as well, yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk about that. Maybe we'll save that for the
No.
next one. But literally, the descriptions in here, it is very, very vivid. I was literally sitting reading it, just picturing it as clear as day. And it gives you a really good insight into what war is like. This is actually one question I was going to ask. I was going to ask, you've dealt with, well, there's a part in the book you said to your sergeant, I'm not a fucking funeral director. And it seemed to be, throughout the book, you were just burying bodies, piecing bodies together. You were always the guy to picking bodies up out of water. Is that war, or is that just what happened to you?
It's just me.
Is it really?
It's just I'll volunteer. I'll do that.
I'll
do that.
You put your hand up a few times in the book.
I would do that because I can do it. Because I never knew I had PTSD until I got blown up. All right. So I feel now when me and Tanya talk or talk to Ross, I had PTSD when I was in Kosovo. That was horrendous, digging up mass graves and fucking putting bodies together, fucking swimming out to reservoirs, putting women out, their bodies out and stuff like that. But is it decompromised? You put it in boxes in your brain, don't you?
Compartmentalised?
That's the one, yeah, you put it in your brain. But when I got blown up, it shattered that wall that I had, and I was blocking everything out, and everything just flooded. And fuck me, I was on missions in Afghan, and I was thinking of stuff in Kosovo. Shake my head, I go, what the fuck is going on here? And I refused to believe that I was suffering. Tanya noticed it first. She goes, you're not the man. What's happening? And then the army noticed it, you know. But,
Cool. Craig, absolute pleasure. Thank you very much.
No worries.
Awesome.
No worries.